Right, good morning. So I think we are very much that we have take key difference with that. I think it's probably another one. Uh, so okay, those who are listening online, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now this one, last week we had about 11 sessions, right? We go to this, I want to say. The 45 session, right? Okay. Right. So, we have around how many students? That right. So today we will start the advanced management accounting. Advanced management accounting have relatively large content, right? Like the financial report, right? So, and so before we start today's topic, so I'm starting with a topic something familiar to you, right? So this is not the same order that is there in the syllabus. But I start with activity-based costing because you all are familiar. I hope this overhead absorption part, right? The absorption of the overhead. So activity-based costing is a little bit of improvement of the traditional overhead absorption system. So we will start with that, something you are familiar with, right? So little by little, I am taking these advanced aspects, right? Before we start the topic, I think it is better to go through this yes, the course outline. Right. Shall we first take the slide? right? Okay, so you can see the course outline, like the content. Examine the cost management techniques in modern manufacturing environment. Then apply strategic cost management principles. Analyze variance and the standard cost setting and investigating the variance. Compare different budgetary control. Apply performance measurement. Apply short-term alternative including multiple limiting factors. Appraise long-term object projects with complexities, tax inflation, unequal life. Evaluate risk in making long-term and renew risk management. So here you find the topics, right? Cost management in modern manufacturing environment, activity-based costing, strategic cost management, environmental aspects of cost management, standard cost and variance analysis, budgetary control, then performance measurement, multiple limiting factors, basically linear program, right? The relevant cost for short-term decisions, principal decisions, and big data for decision making, long-term decision making, advanced investment appraisal, and risk and uncertainty. So these are the content to be covered. Relatively large number of topics, right? And we have 11 weeks, right? Is that 11 sessions, right? So, like in the case of corporate reporting, some of these will be linked with your conclusions, right? So, some of the topic I refer to the conclusion, so that will be covered within the conclusion part. Here you find the details. I'm not going to discuss the details. You can go through each and every topic. So I'll move into the this one, right? The most important part from this first thing, right? How we evaluate. So individual assignment, 20 marks. Group assignment, 20 marks. Final examination, 60 marks. So we'll go ahead with the same weight, right? So luckily no presentation, right? So it's 20% individual assignment, that is a report, right? And group assignment. Right. So next week I will guide you about individual assignment, right? The individual assignment will be given a common topic, but it will be a kind of assignment. You have to come up with some explanation of some kind of report with the allocated topic, right? So I will see that we'll be able to even have 3 topics and allocated so 10 for one similar topic, but you can come up with a different application, practical examples and all, right? So giving a single topic for all, I think we can have around 33 students, right? So then we can have around 3 areas, right? So you divide the batch, right? So what is the topic for each student? So that's the individual assignment. Then the group assignment part we take later. Right? So which is 2020. Okay. So we have 3 hours into 15, but in your case it is 4 hours into something like 11, right? That is how it goes, right? This is math what we had for the financial report, right? So then I'm moving to the activity-based costing. Right. So I hope you have got the basics of activity-based costing also, right? This is a topic related to activity-based costing related to what? What area? The area about activity-based costing. Activity-based costing අදාළ වෙන්නේ මොනවටද? Why we need this? Any idea? Yes. Why we need activity-based costing? What purpose we can use this? Yes. Yeah, basically, this is something relevant to determine the cost of the product. When you want to determine cost of the product, we can broadly divide cost into 2 categories, direct cost and indirect cost. Right? Direct cost we can directly trace to cost object, cost unit, right, per unit, like direct material, direct labor, indirect expenses, we can directly traceable. Indirect cost, another name for indirect cost. Indirect another name. Overhead. Overhead equal indirect, right? Overhead means indirect. Now, overhead means that indirect cost we cannot directly trace to cost object, cost unit per product. So, because we cannot directly trace to a product, we need to use some technique to reasonably allocate this overhead cost to cost unit. That is called overhead allocation. right? You have to allocate the overhead cost, which is commonly incurred to a cost unit product. For that, we can use two broad systems, methods. First one is a traditional overhead absorption system. You know, we have to calculate overhead absorption rate per one production department, right? So if the product is going through two production departments, we have to calculate one overhead absorption rate for one department. So that department flat rate will be applied in determining the overhead cost. And based on that, we can calculate the overhead cost per unit. The main weakness of traditional absorption costing is it is only one overhead absorption rate applicable for entire division, production department. So if the company having only two production departments, we are using two rates. If the company having three departments, we are using three rates. But when you take overhead cost incurred within a department, say the factory 1 and factory 2, all the cost incurred may not be related to one particular basis, right? Say for example, you determine overhead absorption rate in the factory 1 labor hour, or factory 1 machine hour, factory 2 labor hour. Then all the overhead costs we relate with the machine hour, the other one labor. That may not be very, very accurate when it's come to absorption. Especially nowadays, the overhead become more significant within the total. When you take a total cost of a product, if 80% of the total cost covered from the direct material labor, then approximate figure taking overhead may not be a problem, because the main part of your product cost is coming from the direct material and direct labor. But nowadays, with the use of this technology and advanced machinery, the overhead cost become very significant. As a result, accurate overhead absorption for a cost unit is very important. Otherwise, your costing is wrong, significant. Based on that, your pricing also affected. Normally, we determine the price referring to the cost. Cost is one main factor in determining the price. So, if you ascertain the cost inaccurately, your pricing also affected by that. Right? That will affect the company profitability also. So actually, you may be supplying a product which is not that much profitable, and you are reducing the cost of the product, which actually generates the profit sometimes, because based on this erroneous overhead allocation. To avoid that, we should find a mechanism to allocate the overhead cost, indirect cost, as much as accurate to the cost to it. So activity-based costing provides solution for the weakness of traditional overhead absorption, under which one department having one rate. Other problem is some of the activities of the business may be going through from the both production division. It may be applicable not only for one production division. For example, machinery setup, they have to set the machines in the division A as well as division B, or the factory 1 and factory 2. But we are using one flat rate for factory 1, one flat rate for factory 2. Then some of these common activities which are going through both the divisions, you better use a one overhead absorption rate for that activity rather than taking for the each factory. So under activity-based costing, we are not worried about the departments. We identify what are the main activities in the production cost. And we can identify the overhead cost related to that particular activity. Activity-wise, we allocate the overhead cost. Then we identify what is the main cost driver for that particular activity. So that activity, what is the main cost driver, which drive the cost of that particular activity? You can identify. So you calculate overhead absorption rate for each activity, right? So if there are 5 activities, you identify 5 overhead absorption rate. Based on that activity cost driver, you have to allocate the overhead cost to each cost unit. So these are the learning outcomes. I have told you this about these learning outcomes. These are the things that you should be able to, by end of this session, you should be able, right? This is what students should be able to understand the traditional costing, activity costing, practically applied activity-based costing, identify the implication, and calculate the cost using activity-based costing. So we will discuss about traditional costing a little bit, then activity-based costing, when to use the traditional and activity-based costing, advantages, disadvantages. We have some tutorial activity, and finally, the use of activity-based costing for the management decision-making part we can discuss under activity-based management. Right. So, traditional costing system assign all manufacturing overhead to production and service centers. I hope you can remember, right? We have to allocate the overhead cost under the divisions or the departments of the business, right? Maybe say we have 2 production departments and 1 service department. So what we do, we have to identify what is the total cost of factory 1, total overhead cost of factory 1. That we can identify on the factory rent, factory electricity, right? Factory staff salary, machinery depreciation. Likewise, you can allocate all the overhead costs for factory 1. Similarly, factory 2. And you have 2 service departments, say stores and the maintenance division. So you can allocate the cost for those 2 divisions as well. So you have 5 million for factory 1 overhead, 3 million for factory 2, and 1 million for stores, and 1 million for maintenance. Altogether, total overhead cost 10 million, right? So these we do prior to the production. So all these are budgeted, right? Estimated figures, because we need to determine the cost in advance, right? Management accounting, we need to determine the cost in advance for the pricing purpose. So we are referring all these cases budgeted. In overhead, unless specifically mentioned actual, all the figures are budgeted, right? So it may be mentioned in the budgeted, but even though it is silenced, whether it is budgeted or actual, in overhead, unless it is mentioned actual, that means budgeted. Because this is used in planning stage, right? When you are planning the production, okay, you want to determine what would be the total production cost per unit, the product produced during the next year from 24. So then we are planning all these costs. So this total overhead cost of factory 1, factory 2, stores and maintenance division to some budget. Right? Then we identify the overhead cost. Overhead means indirect. Indirect means we can't directly trace to the product. But there may be overhead costs we can identify with the cost center. Right? You can't identify for the product, but factory 1 managers work only in the factory 1, right? So you can identify the salaries of the factory 1 manager to the factory 1, factory 1 supervisor salary to the factory 1, factory 2, you can identify. So overhead cost you can directly allocate for each and every cost center. So that is why I just use the example. Okay, 5 million for factory 1, 3 million for factory 2, 1 million for stores, 1 million for maintenance division. then there may be certain overhead costs you are incurred commonly. Right? Commonly for the factory 1, factory 2 stores and maintenance. It's also possible. You can't trace even to the cost center. Right? Commonly incurred. Sometimes the security staff, right? Maybe you are giving monthly fee, right? So that you are giving that for the security for. So they are providing to the entire company. So that cover the factory 1, factory 2 stores, maintenance, all. If you have a one electric line, general electric line, one bill, then you are getting one bill for the whole factory 1, factory 2 stores, maintenance, right? Electricity may be common. Or even there may be one factory manager who is responsible for all these, right? So his salary should be allocated among all the divisions. So then there are commonly incurred overhead costs. So what do we do? How to allocate them into cost center? We use what? To allocate, there are certain overhead costs we can directly identify in the cost center. Factory 1, factory 2, factory stores, maintenance, right? The employees who work in that particular division, their salary you can identify directly. But some costs commonly incurred. Then how to allocate? Commonly incurred cost, overhead cost, you want to allocate among the cost centers. We use a name for that. Now this 10 million I got, that is directly allocated cost. Then commonly incurred overhead cost we call apportionment. Using some basis based on number of employees, based on electricity unit, based on floor area, right? The commonly incurred overhead cost we can divide among the cost centers, right? When you do that, okay, now the factory 1 cost become total overhead cost allocated and apportioned 6 million, right? Factory 2 4 million, and stores 1.5 million, and maintenance 1.5 million, right? So now altogether 15 million. This is the total overhead. Directly allocated 10 million, apportioned 5 million, altogether 15 million. Then under traditional absorption costing, now they assign all the manufacturing overhead production and cost centers after direct allocation and apportion using a suitable basis. That is covered in the first bullet. So now I got 6 million, 6 million, 1.5, 1.5 for 2 production department and 2 service department. Then reallocate cost assigned to service cost center, service department into production cost center. Because products are not going through stores and maintenance division. So the 1.5 million each that we have identified, 3 million cost, we have to reallocate to the production department. When you reallocate, assume that we had 6 million each in the factory 1 and factory 2. There were 3 million overhead cost. So out of that 2 million allocated to factory 1 and 1 million to factory 2. So total overhead cost of factory 1, 8 million, factory 2, 7 million. Now 15 million is finally allocated among only the production cost center, production department. Then we have to calculate overhead absorption rate for that particular production department, cost center. That is where we have to use suitable basis like labor hour, machine hour, material cost, labor cost, prime cost, or unit basis, whatever. You calculate the overhead absorption rate. Say that factory 1 based on machine hours, factory 2 labor hours. Then you calculate, okay, factory 1 overhead absorption rate per machine hour 100 rupees. Factory 2 overhead absorption rate per labor hour 200 rupees. So you get the absorption rate. Then assign cost center overhead to product. Basically product. Cost object is a product. right? Or it can be allocated for a other objective like a order or something, but basically per unit. So we are producing 3 products, A, B, C. To produce product A, we need 2 machine hours. So then 100 into 2, 200. And 3 labor hours, 200 into 3, 600. So likewise, we can identify the overhead cost, right? So this is what you learn in traditional overhead costing system. And you learn this even from advanced level, right? So this is the basic overhead cost allocation, right? If you are coming from some chartered background, so basically your management accounting, basic management accounting course, you should have covered this traditional, right? Anyway, in today's discussion also we will take some activity, right? So features in the traditional costing system. So what are the features in traditional costing system? Direct costs are traced to product. So anyway, direct cost means direct cost you can trace to the product, right? Allocation of manufacturing overhead cost to the product. Then calculate the manufacturing overhead rate. Traditional product costing distort the product cost because it uses a single volume-based cost drive. So it assigns cost based on relatively use of direct labor, direct material, right? Something like price, one basis. That is the main weakness, main criticism. When you take the factory one, if our overhead absorption rate is machine hours, all the overhead cost of factory one are now allocated based on machine hours. There may be some overhead cost directly related with the machine hours, but all the overhead cost of factory, it may not be very accurate to use one rate. So this is an approximate tool. Right? Then the service factory 2 we use the labor. So then all the overhead cost allocated using labor. So here it assign example, it's like example, it assign cost based on relative usage of direct labor hour, or you can have a machine hour, right? Or unit produced, whatever the basis. The traditional product costing systems are likely to be result in inaccurate product cost when proportion of direct labor cost decreases. Now this is with the assumption, right? Say this is in my example, I take the factory 2 direct labor. So if we assume we are using labor hour as the basis, right? So if we are using the labor hour as the overhead absorption rate, then proportion of direct labor cost decreases. That means most of the overhead cost may not be related with the direct labor, right? Some of the overhead may be related with the labor. But if you are using the labor hours, so that is not appropriate. Then, more importantly, when the manufacturing overhead cost part is significant, as I told you, right? This traditional overhead absorption was used earlier because out of the total cost of a product, if 80%, 85% cover from direct cost, only 20-15% is coming from the overhead. So if you can use some kind of approximate allocation of overhead is sufficient. Right? That won't affect the total cost significantly because 80% of the total cost of a product is direct material directly. Nowadays, with this sophisticated manufacturing facilities, we are incurring huge overhead costs. So within the total cost, significant components become overhead. Right? Overhead. So proportion relating to unrelated manufacturing overhead cost increasing with the increase of the technology. Then non-manufacturing cost that are product related become substantial. Product related, non-manufacturing. Now, some of the product, the pricing, they have to consider, normally correct pricing, you have to consider all the costs. Right? So, compared with the direct cost, sometimes price is very high because you want to cover the overhead cost. Right? Now, if you take a service organization like hotel, right, tourist hotel, right, or star hotel, how they determine the hotel rate, right? So, if you take the direct cost that they are incurring, right, for the meal and having the accommodation, right? So they have a very high margin, right? So the gross profit ratio around 80% because a lot of overhead costs they need to cover. So they absorb all these overhead costs in determining the pricing, right? Otherwise, they will incur loss, right? So same thing happened in some of these. You take medicine like pharmaceutical industry, drug manufacturing, right? They have to incur a lot of research costs to discover new product. So after incurring a lot of research costs, they might find a solution. Direct cost wise, it will increase the very small amount. But you have to cover that research cost, right? The non-manufacturing, right? So they have to take that into the pricing. Now that is why if you take, now we have this antibiotic, amoxicillin, right? So that is the main antibiotic used somewhere in from the Second World War period. It is using, right? Then all over the world, people started to consume it even without proper direction from a doctor. As a result, human body reaction for this antibiotic reduces. So, but world failed to come up with an alternative. Right? So many research carried out. Finally, they came into some other, I can't remember exactly the formula, right? So the name of that, some another component, right? Sodium, calcium, or kind of name, right? So they add that part to enhance, boost the performance of this antibiotic, right? So you all will experience this now when you go for a doctor and if you are given the normal amoxicillin, right? Say that is 25 rupees. If you take that improved version, like normal 500 milligram, right? 25 rupees. But if that improved version, that is 500 milligram of amoxicillin plus 125 milligram, the other part, that becomes 125. Right? So I discussed about this with some of the pharmaceutical expertise. So they told that that is not the price is not for the that additional component is the very costly, right? The thing is they had to carry out research something like over 30-40 years to discover this. Now they are covering that research, right? That is why the price is so high. So in the non-manufacturing cost become very significant. Otherwise, when you are incurring research and development cost and you come up with the product innovation, you should be able to cover it. No? Otherwise, you are incurring losses. So that becomes significant part likewise. So you need to allocate this overhead cost in proper manner. Right? Product diversity increases. That one factory you are producing so many diversified products. So within one factory, if you are producing only 2 products, right? Normally in our activities we take like that, right? But 2 products, 3 products. But when you are producing so many products, it is very important that you rate overhead cost allocation. Otherwise, your pricing would be low. Your total cost will be affected. Pricing would be low. So it is very important you to take this cost, overhead cost, allocate. This is the additional overhead cost. The first stage, you allocate the total overhead cost, right? Within the overhead cost account, you have the factory rent, factory manager salary, factory supervisor salary, machinery depreciation. Likewise, overhead cost account. You are allocating you are collecting the overhead cost. Then this overhead cost, you have to take into the cost centers, production department, service department, likewise. Then from the cost center, you have to take them into the cost object. Right? Overhead cost එක ඉස්සර වෙලා අපිට එකතු කරගන්න. අඳුර ගන්න. overhead cost headings එකක්. ඊට පස්සේ ඒවා cost centers වලට බෙදා ගන්න. එතනදී direct allocation and apportionment. Apportionment and the reapportionment of service department to production. Take a first stage. Centers වලට අඳුර ගන්න. ඒක ඇතුලේ sub parts ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. ඊළඟ second stage එක තමයි from the cost center tracing overhead cost to the allocating overhead cost to the cost unit product or service or customer, whatever. So activity based costing developed to provide more accurate ways of assigning cost of indirect and support resource to activities, business process, product, services to customers. The goal of activity-based costing is not to allocate common to product. The goal is to measure and then price out all resources for activities that are support the production and delivery of product and services to customers. So basically, under activity-based costing, we try to identify the main activities within the production process, and you relate the cost for that activity. So some of these activities may be within one production department. Some of these activities going through even two production. Example, two factories. Some of these activities applicable only for one factory. Some of these activities may be relevant to both factories. So here we are not worried about the center wise. We focus on activity. Like activity. So designing the activity-based costing system, identify major activities that take place in an organization. That is the first task. Like one of the activities, manufacturing. Even you can use non-manufacturing. The total cost allocation, total indirect cost, manufacturing and non-manufacturing. Right? Manufacturing cost එක හොයාගන්න අපිට manufacturing related activities ටික විතරක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. But for the total cost, we need both manufacturing and non-manufacturing. Then say there are 5 activities. Then assign cost for each activity. අපි අඳුරගත්ත activities 5ක්. Then these 5 activities, we have to assign the cost of each activity. So overhead cost එක ආයතනයේ overhead cost එක අපි ඔය activity 5ට බෙදාගන්න. Then you have to determine what is the most suitable cost driver for each activity. Yeah, activity එකේ cost එක drive කරන drive එක. Then assign cost of activities to product according to product demand for activities. Determine the cost driver. Cost driver determine then actually you have to calculate the cost driver rate. Right? Or assign overhead cost එක activity එකේ බෙදනවා driver number of drivers. So that overhead absorption rate එක වගේම තමයි. Overhead absorption rate එකේදී divisional overhead cost, the factory 1 overhead cost divided by the machine hours. Factory 2 overhead cost divided by labor hours. Likewise, from the basis of absorption basis to divide. Here, so you have the factory cost with the machining, right? Machine operation cost, overhead, machine operation related overhead. You may be related with the machine hours, right? Machine setup, something like that. So that is irrespective of the division, right? As an activity. So then you have a activity cost driver. So then you multiply it by number of basis of that particular activity. So there are some terms that we used. Cost pool. Cost pool is an activity that consumes resources and for which overhead costs are identified and allocated. So each cost pool, there should be the cost driver. Cost pool එකක් කියන්නේ අපිට cost එක එකතු කරන්න පුළුවන් activity. මේ සමහර activities තියෙනවා ඒ එක activity එකට cost එක අඳුන ගන්න අමාරු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒතර අපිට ඒක දෙක තුනක් එකතු වෙලා pool එකක් හැදෙනවා. ඒක තමයි activity එක. Right? Cost pool is an activity that consumes resources for which overhead costs are identifiable and allocated. ඒක තමයි main part. අපි හිතමු manufacturing process එකේ අපි අඳුන ගන්නවා activities 12. හැබැයි ඒ activity වල සමහර ඒවට cost එක තව ඒවත් එක්ක link. අර cost එක directly අඳුන ගන්න බෑ. එතකොට අපි අර pool එක විදිහට තමයි අඳුන ගන්න. ඒ activity 12 දෙකක් එකතු වුණාම එක activity එකක් නේද? එක pool එක. So that cost pool is an activity that consumes resources for which overhead costs are identifiable and allocated. Overhead cost එක වෙන් කරලා අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන් කෙනෙක් activity. ඒක critical. දැන් department නම් ලේසි සාපේක්ෂ. factory 1 එකට cost එක අඳුර ගන්න එක factory 2 එකට cost එක අඳුර ගන්න එක ලේසි. activity කියන එක business එක operation වෙද්දී activity කියලා බෙදලා කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකේ වෙනම operation process එකක් තියෙනවා. So for the hosting purpose, we should be able to relate an activity for that. They can actually sub activities godak තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? But you identify one main broad activity where you can allocate the cost and identify it separately. Then for each cost pool, there should be a cost driver. Cost driver is a unit of activity that measures, that consumes the resources. Right. For each selected activity, there should be a cost driver. Choosing cost driver must be relevant. Obviously, අපි මොකක් හරි activity එකට cost driver එකක් තෝරගත්තාම ඒ driver එක activity එකට relevant වෙන්න ඕනේ. There should be a connection between cost driver and the consumption of resources. අපි driver එක කියලා ගන්න එක ඒක driver එක වැඩි වෙනකොට අරගේ resource consumption එක වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ activity. එහෙම නොත් බයි cost drive එක. මොකද cost එක drive කරන්නේ මෙන්න මේ activity. Now we transport එකක් ගත්තොත් number of miles travel by drive එකනේ. miles ගන්න වැඩි වෙන නැත්නම් kilometers drive. kilometers ගන්න වැඩි වෙනකොට ඒකේ traveling cost එක transport cost එක වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒක cost drive එක විදිහට ගන්නවා. ඒ වගේ. And it easy to measure. දැන් මේක ගා complicated drive එකක් ගත්තොත් you face problem, right? මොකද අපි මේ කරන්නේ you want to allocate the overhead cost to the cost object because you can't directly trace it. You can objective directly trace කරන්න බැරි overhead cost එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක trace කරන්න ඕනේ අපිට cost object. ඒ සඳහා තමයි අපි මේ ABC costing පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. As an alternative for the traditional overhead absorption. So this is relatively costly compared to the traditional overhead absorption. You need more resources, more data, right? But it should not be so complex, right? Measuring cost of cost driver and identifying the product of service to which they relate need to be fairly easy, straightforward, right? Make a little complicated එකක් නොත් එහෙම මේක අපිට practically අමාරුයි. Then the cost drivers we can identify transaction drivers. The cost of activity is affected by number of times a particular action is undertaken. Example would be number of setup, number of power drill operation, number of batches of material received, number of purchase orders. Again, a transaction cost driver affected by number of times particular action taken. Commonly the cost drivers. Then some cost drivers may be duration drivers. Cost of activity is not much affected by number of times of the action is undertaken, as by length of the time that takes to perform an action. Example, setup cost may not related to number of setup so much as to the setup time. Right? සමහර වෙලාවට සමහර cost තියෙනවා ඒක වාර ගන්න නෙමෙයි time එකකින් measure කරන්න. The cost drive එක වෙන්න ඕනේ number of hours rather than number of times. Right? Intensity of the drive. Effort would be directed by determining what resources were used in making of product or service. ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර වෙලාවට අපිට තීරණය කරන්න වෙනවා right මොන resources ද මේ product එකට නැත්නම් service එකට use කරන එක කියන එක lazy trace කරන්න බැරි අවස්ථා right. We'll move some activities to understand this. Now this is the example. Indirect overhead, right? Resource drivers අපිට දීලා තියෙනවා. Inspect the incoming material, move material, maintain machines, set up machines, prepare tooling. එතකොට the inspection of incoming material ගත්තාම cost driver එක activity cost driver number of receipt. Then material movement number of moves. Then maintenance of machine maintenance hours. The machine maintenance වගේ එකට සමහර machine එකක් තියෙනවා ඒක maintain කරන්න අපි හිතමු machine එක maintain කරන්න attempt ගාන ගත්තොත් සමහර වෙලාවට ඒක activate වෙන්නේ. සමහර machines තියෙනවා ඒක නිතර breakdown වෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒක හදන්න යන්නේ පොඩි වෙලාවයි විනාඩි 5ක්. හරි ඒක interruption එක විනාඩි 15යි. ඒක නේ cost එක ඒ employees ලා එකට වැඩ කරන්න විනාඩි 5ක්. සමහර machines තියෙනවා ඒක regularly breakdown වෙන්නේ. Once it is breakdown you need take 2 hours. එතකොට අපි අර number of times ගත්තොත් inactive. ඒ වගේ වෙලාවක් තමයි අර කිව්වේ අපි hours වගේ ගන්නවා. duration එක තමයි activity drive එක වෙන්නේ. Right? So machine maintenance hours for the machinery maintenance. Set up machinery, set up hours වෙන්න. Prepare tooling, the number of setups. So we have manufacturing related indirect cost මේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ. අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේ focus කරන manufacturing business එකට like overhead absorption. So the steps in activity based costing you can take first calculate cost per activity driver for each activity. අනිත් එක මෙහෙම නෙමෙයි. අපි පටන් ගත්තේ ඉස්සලාම ඇක්ටිවිටි අඳුර ගන්න ඕනේ. ඇක්ටිවිටි වලට කොස්ට් ටික එකතු කරන්න ඕනේ. right? ඊට පස්සේ ඇක්ටිවිටි කොස්ට් ඩ්‍රයිව් එක අඳුර ගන්න. ඒ ගානකට ගියාම examination perspective you will be given the activity. For that activity cost also given. Cost drivers also given. From those drivers we have to relate on. right? එසනවා මේක මේ අර examination focus එකකින් උගලන්ට ගාණක් හදන focus එකකින් බැලුවොත් එහෙනම් අපිට මුලින්ම කරන්න තියෙන්නේ මොකක්ද? You have to calculate the cost per activity driver for each activity. ඒ activity එකට අදාළ cost driver එක අඳුර ගන්න වෙනවා. ඒකේ cost එක calculate කරන්න. right? ඒ වල මුලින්ම working එකක් විදිහට කරන්නේ right? පළවෙනි activity එකේ මොකද්ද cost per cost driver. Second activity, what is the cost per cost driver? Then calculate the activity cost per unit allocated for the product. ඊට පස්සේ activity එක activity එකේ product එකේ ඉන්න cost එක අඳුර ගන්න. Then with the total cost you can determine. The traditional costing suitable for low level of competition. Competition එක අඩුයි නම් traditional cost එක කමක් නැහැ කියන්නේ. What is that additional overhead costing and absorption costing deals with the competition? Yes. Why it say the traditional costing is suitable for low level of competition? Now, traditional costing and absorption, activity-based costing, traditional absorption costing and activity-based costing. Activity-based costing will give you more accurate overhead cost allocation for cost unit, so that will enable you more accurate total cost per product. That will enable you to more accurate pricing, right, of the product. But that activity-based costing require relatively more time and more cost than traditional absorption cost. In that context, here it says the traditional costing is suitable when you have less competition. Why is that? Yes. And right? You can just read this and reproduce at the examination. You should know why. Why we say that traditional costing is suitable for low level of competition. Yes. When the competition is less, why you say that the traditional costing is suitable? Now you think the other, if the competition is high, then you have higher competition. So if your pricing decision is wrong by margin, that will affect your sales and your profit and all. But low level of competition, even though you charge a higher price, right? Doesn't matter, right? No very person to compete. Right? So high level of competition, you need a very accurate costing and very accurate pricing, because a small mistake in pricing, you will lose the customers for the company. But in the low level of competition, you need not to take more time and effort to allocate this cost exactly accurately, right? Because using ABC, even you can use traditional absorption costing and you charge a flat rate, that will marginally increase the price, but still may not be significantly affected because you are not facing very much competition. That is the reason, right? The other one is the ABC costing is more suitable when you have a huge competition, right? The activity-based costing is more suitable when you have a high competition. Then indirect costs are low proportionate to the overhead that I told you earlier, right? If the 80% of the total cost is direct cost, only 20% is the indirect cost, overhead cost. You better go for the overhead absorption, traditional overhead absorption. If it is 90-10, right? So 80, 75, 80, 90 direct, only 10 to 20, 25 indirect, relatively less. So you can go ahead with the traditional overhead. But on the other hand, if 50% of the total cost, 60% of the total cost is indirect, the very accurate, as much as accurate overhead cost allocation to the cost unit is important. So you need to go for the activity-based cost. Right? So always at the undergraduate level, you should ask why. Okay? You know the reason. Is something lacking of the graduates, our graduates, right? So Sri Lankan culture people, they are not very much asking questions, right? Why? That is why our people get trapped, right? In a lot of cases, right? So you don't question. So especially if you are learning subjects, right? So you are having some kind of theoretical area like this, you should know, right? Why you say that when the indirect cost is cost are low proportion of overhead. Now even in examination context, you won't ask to list these. Right? If it is asked, it will be asked the why type question, right? So you may be given, right? Traditional costing is more suitable when company face low competition and indirect cost are low proportion of overhead. Do you agree? Discuss. Then the reason is given, right? You have to explain why. Okay? Right. Then fairly standard product range. All consume organizational resources in similar proportion. Standardized product range. You have product A, B, C. You can you are producing standardized product, right? You can you know that product A machine hours this much, 1 machine hours, 2 machine hours, 3 machine hours, 1 labor. Very standardized product. Opposite, the diverse range of product, all consuming organizational resources significantly different proportions. That means you have large diversified product and some type of customized product is made. Right? You need a very accurate costing system. Now, then even automobile industry, because the Toyota, right? Then Toyota Corolla, right? Car, standard, right? Large quantity you produce standard. Right? So the equivalent costing equal ABC traditionally, right? But no much difference, right? How body variation because the Mercedes base level are customized 40 options, right? C of the CC is C200, C180, C160, C165, C220, right? Lanka got up there. In equivalent features, basically very similar, right? Have a features actually so you have huge range. So hurry to cost activate activate costing. So I like production Toyota, right? Toyota has no meets Toyota Corolla has no right now market model lab. No, it's not maybe no practice but just to understand, right? So that no much customizing, diversification. But when you have customized products, so many diversified products, right? Large range of custom product, then you go for the activity-based costing. When the information processing cost is too high, then you better go for traditional costing should be suitable. Right? Theatre this side or indirect cost එක තියෙන්නේ. අනිත් පැත්තට ඒක ABC වලට යනවා නම් you need a huge cost. So you better go for active based cost. Here relatively information processing cost is not that high. So ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ හොඳ information processing system එකක් anyway තියෙනවා. Right? So මේකටම අපි වෙනම system එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. අපිට body business එකක් තියෙනවා. If you go for traditional costing, you can manage with the Excel. But if you are going for equity based costing, right? Equity based costing වලටම යන්න අපි හිතනවා අපි යනවා ERP. No point. ඒ වගේ වෙලාවකට you go ahead with the traditional system. But you are anyway having ERP, right? But we are still using the traditional absorption. You better go for equity based costing, so that will not give you a additional information cost, processing cost. So something like that. Right. Then we have this example. Well, this is an example, right? So even an answer is there in the slide itself. So we'll go through and understand it. ABC manufacturer, ABC Limited manufactures 3 types of products. ABC, they use activity-based costing system. Company has identified 5 activities. Activity cost and cost drivers are given below. Material handling cost is 225,000. Cost driver number of parts. Material inception, right? Material inception. Insetting, right? Okay. Beginning. Number of parts. The cost driver 2,475,000. Automated machinery 840,000 cost. Machine hour. Finishing labor hours. Packing. Order shift. Total manufacturing cost එක අපිට දීලා තියෙනවා. Under the activity-based costing system, what is the cost per unit A? මෙතන අපිට ABC කියලා product තුනක් හදනවනේ. Product තුනේ unit to be produced, orders to be shipped, number of parts per unit, machine hours, labor hours. ඔතන ටිකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. Right? මේ තමයි activity. Activity and cost driver given මේක තෝරලා තියෙන්න මේ ටික පොදුවේ දුන්නා නම් අපිට ගැලපෙන එකක් අඳුර ගන්න වෙනවා. Then you have to first calculate the cost per activity cost driver. The overhead cost divided by the activity cost, number of activity cost drivers. The activity cost drivers ගන්න වෙන්නේ like material handling, number of parts නේ. Number of parts. කොච්චරක්ද කියන එක බලන්න වෙනවා. Number of parts per unit තියෙනවා. Number of parts per unit 10, 50, 25. Here you have the unit produced 10,000, 5,000, 2,000. So number of parts multiplied by unit produced, you can find the total number of parts. Right? So material handling per one part, how much cost? So that you have to divide the 225,000 by number of parts. The number of parts directly dila naha. Number of parts per unit 10 into 10,000 plus 15 into 5,000 plus 25 into 2,000. Right? Per unit part gana dila dena number of units gana dena. So that is how to determine the level of activity drivers. පළවෙනි එකේ තියෙන්නේ number of parts 10 into 10,000, 15 into 5,000, 25 into 2,000. So ඒක එකතු කරාම එනවා 225,000 parts. The cost is 225 divided by 225,000, 1 rupee per part. Right? Here material insert. Insert karna material. අර පාට් ගන්න අරගෙන තමයි 2,475,000 divided by 225,000. It is 11 rupees per part. ₹11 per part. Automated machinery, the machine hours. So you have the machine hours, number of machine hours per unit දීලා තියෙනවා. එනිසා එකත් අපි total දීලා තිබුණා කෙලිම ගන්න තිබුණා. Right. Here the number of machine hours given per unit. So machine hours 1 into 1,000, 3 into 5,000, 5 into 2,000. මේක බෙදලා දීලා තියෙනවා. නේ. සාමාන්‍ය ප්‍රැක්ටිකල් එක ඕක අපිට තියෙනවනේ. hours තියෙනවා total එක. Right. මේක නිසා calculation එකක් එන්න දීලා තියෙනවා. 1 into 1,000, 3 into 5,000, 2 into 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 25,000, altogether 35,000. Right? So 84,000 divided by 35,000 is that. $840,000 divided by 35,000 total number of hours, 24 per hour machine hour. Then finishing based on labor hours. Labor hour per unit. Per unit labor hours දීලා තියෙන්නේ. Budgeted නේ. මේකත් එන්න පුළුවන්. මේකත් budgeted නිසා machine hour එන්න පුළුවන්. Right. Per unit. එහෙම වුණොත් අපිට number of units වලින් වැඩි කරන්න පුළුවන්. 2 into 10,000, 2 into 5,000, 2 into 2,000. So 20,000, 30,000, 34,000. So 170 divided by 34,000, 5 rupees per labor. Per labor. Packaging based on orders. Orders shipped. ඒක නම් total එක දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒක product A වල 10,000, product B 5,000, product C 2,000. So altogether 1,700. The packaging cost is 170,000. So 170,000 divided by 1,700. 170,000 divided by 1,700. So this is 100 per ship. So the first step is we have to calculate overhead absorption rate per activity cost drive. Cost per activity cost drive. තමයි overhead absorption rate කියනත් පුළුවන් rate per cost activity cost drive. Activity cost drive එකට කියනවා. Then calculate the activity cost per unit. Right. The product A වලට අපිට කියනවා machine material handling 10 parts. Insert material 10 parts. Auto machine hours 1. Finishing labor hours 2. Packaging ඔක්කොම 10,000යි 10,000යි 1000යි. Packaging packaging වල අපිට තියෙන්නේ orders to be shipped 1,000. Total number of orders either put calculation. Then orders තියෙන්නේ orders to be shipped 1,000. Unit to be produced 10,000. Total number of unit 10,000. 10,000 වලට යනවා orders to be shipped 1,000. එතකොට එක ඕඩර් එකක 10ක් යනවා. ඔක්කොම 10000යි ඕඩර්ස් 1000ක් යනවා කියන එක්ස්ට්‍රා 1000යි. ඕඩර් එකේ shipment cost එක 100යි. ඕඩර් එක ප්‍රොඩක්ට් 10ක් ගන්නවා. ඒ නිසා 10. අනිත් ඒවා 5 hours into 2 hours 10, 24 into 1 24, 11 into 10 110, 1 into 10 10. අපිට නෝ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක total cost එක. Activity cost assigned per for me somewhere there is the one right. Right. Then so you calculate 10 per unit, 110, 24. So you have this 10, 110, 24. So altogether it is 164 total manufacturing overhead absorbed under activity based cost. Our interesting thing here, you are not worried about the cost center. Right? The material handling අදාළ වෙන්නේ factory 1 වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Factory 1 and factory 2 දෙකටම වෙන්න. නැත්නම් ඒක තියෙන stores වල වෙන්න. Doesn't matter. We identify the activity wise. So automated machine is these are automated machine only operating the factory 1. So these activity related to only factory 1. Right? It is finishing part done in the factory 2. So then that finishing related one overhead cost coming from factory 2. But here we ignore it. So ඒක අපිට අදාළ නැහැ. Right? We allocated the cost based on activity. Right? Finishing and packaging සමහරට factory 2 එකේ වෙන්නේ. ඒතර factory 2 එකේ තියෙන activities එක්කට වෙනම cost drivers දෙකක් තියෙනවා. Material handling, material inserting and automated machinery අපිට factory 1 තියෙනවා. Right? මම මේක නිකන් සරල කරනවා. Factory 1 and factory 2 තියෙනවා. පළවෙනි activities තුන යන්නේ factory 1 එකේ. දෙවෙනි activities තුන යන්නේ factory 2 එකේ. දැන් මේ වෙනවා එතකොට factory 1 එකටම cost drivers තුනක් තියෙනවා. factory 2 එකට cost drivers දෙකක්. But it is not necessarily within one cost set. සමහර වෙලාවට මේක activity එක automated machinery factory 2 වලත් තියෙනවා. ඒකත් consider කරන්න. Right. So that the advantages of activity based costing is more accurate and it helps us to better understanding of the cost. I drive it at the Kandra. Then it fairly allocate the cost. Right? Accuracy. Then the cost control එකට හොඳයි. Right? අපි දන්නවා right which activity drive more cost. ඔකේම අපි තාක්ෂණ value added non value added activities අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට එතන activity එක කොච්චර value added කියන එකත් එක්ක cost එක relate කරලා decision making වලට important. ඉතරහට අපි කතා කරනවා. Can be applied even beyond the production. Non manufacturing overhead වලට මොකක් වෙලාවට use කරන්න පුළුවන්. service industries වලට අපි විස්තර කරනවා වගේ නිසා. right? Service industry වලට ගත්තොත් manufacturing division කතාවක් නැහැ. ඒක activity base තමයි යන්නේ. More complex situation වලට මේක පාවිච්චි කරනවා traditional එකට වඩා. Disadvantage ගත්තාම traditional එකට සාපේක්ෂව complex. right? Expensive. Need to choose the appropriate cost drivers and may not always applicable. අපි කලින් කිව්වේ ABC suitable වෙන තැන කියන්නේ additional absorption costing suitable වෙන if the overhead is not significant, right? We are not facing very much competition. ඒ වගේ තැන්වලදී මේකට අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. right? මේක costly, expensive. Cost එක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා more information to be available. right? Right. So then we are moving to the tutorial. Question 1. A company makes a range of products with total budgeted manufacturing overhead cost of 973,560 incurred in pre-production department A, B, and C, and one service department. Department A has 10 direct employees who each work 37 hours per week. Department B have 5 machines, each work which is operated 24 hours per week. Right? C expect to produce 148,000 units of final product in the budgeted period. Company will operate 48 weeks in the budget period. Budgeted overhead cost incurred by each department. Production department A, B, C. Right? Lanka production department A is the accounting. Right? The departments, you have the cost of each department and the service department. Like this. Budgeted overhead cost by each department. Right. Now here, you are given total overhead cost 973,560. Right? and you are given budgeted overhead costs incurred by each department. These are the allocated overhead costs for the each department, directly allocated. Now, when you add these, it won't be 900. Here, 973. When you add these, for how much? 261, 226, 93, 53. Just add these four. The directly allocated cost for each cost center. $635. So you can deduct it from 973, 560 total overhead cost. How much? 310,000. So 310,000 difference is there. So that is the overhead cost commonly incurred, right? This is the total production overhead cost, manufacturing overhead cost. Product going to 3 production department and 1 service department. The balance budget overhead cost is apportioned among the department, make it easier 40%, 35%, 20%, 5%. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේකට තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ එක එක absorption rate apportionment basis පාවිච්චි කරලා වෙන්නේ. ඒක බෙදලා ගන්න දීලා. Service department overhead is apportioned equally to each production department. Right? අර ටික ආපහු allocate කරාම service එකකට 105ක් එනවා. Then the service department overhead cost you have reapportioned equally. So calculate the appropriate predetermined overhead absorption rate of each product department. This is using traditional overhead costing system. Traditional system. And එක හරි ලේසි right සාමාන්‍ය ඉතර වෙලාම වලට තියෙන divisions වලට department හතරේ 3 production department and 1 service department. ABC and service. Allocated manufacturing overhead එක කෙලින්ම දීලා තියෙන කරන්ට් එක මේකට දාගෙන යන්න. ඊට පස්සේ apportionment of unallocated manufacturing overhead or balance එක දීලා තියෙනවනේ කොටසක් මේක ගෙලින්ම දාන්න. apportionment එක ගන්න වෙන්නේ අර balance 300 එක 40%, 35, 25. මෙතන එනවා total එක. ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්න වෙන්නේ? සර්විස් එක reapportion කරන්න. Reapportionment of service. මේක අයින් කරලා සමානව බෙදලා දෙන්න. Then you will have the overhead cost of each division, each manufacturing cost center. ඊළඟ cost drive absorption rate එකේ basis එක. Basis එක තානේ මුලින්ම දීලා තියෙනවා. එතන කියනවා Department A has 10 direct employees who work 37 hours per week. Again, Department A under direct labor. Department B, 5 machines each operate 24 hours per week, 48 hours. අවුරුද්දට බලන්න ඕනේ, right? දැන් annual cost එක තියෙන්නේ. ඒක Department B වල ගන්න වෙන්නේ per labor. Department C number of unit produced. එළිපදින. overhead cost එක බෙදාගත්තට පස්සේ should be able to take it. You have the full information. A वलට per machine hour, B labor hour, C per unit. You can have the absorption rate. Traditional overhead absorption. up to this point, this is quite easy. The allocated manufacturing overhead directly given, right? Then from that 900,000, when you deduct that 600 or something, 310,000 or something, you have to allocate a apportionment of unallocated overhead 40, 30, 5, 25. Then you take the total. Then service department total overhead cost equally reapportion. What amount net? Right now, this is you have department A. Right. So now here the total. Also, these total. What is it? Forget about this allocation from this. This is what I want to detail focus on. Right. Overhead cost directly allocated 261, 220, 120, 93.53 මේක දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒකේ total එක එනවා 635. Total budgeted overhead given 973. So the difference is 338. That we have to allocate 40%, 35%, 20% and 5%. Then total budgeted overhead 973. This is allocated and apportioned. Service department, we have to reapportion equal. Then you will get the total overhead cost. Right? Total overhead cost allocated only to the production department, which is 420, 368, 185. Right? So, Department A, question itself, it is given Department A. 10 direct employees who work 37 hours per week. And total hours කොච්චර තියෙනවද කියලා අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන්. 10 into 37 per week 370. There are 48 hours work per year. 17,760. That is the basis. That is the total number of labor hours. 10 employees, 37 hours into 48 weeks. Because you are given for the department A, right? Information up to the 10 employees work 37 hours. Total number of weeks work per year 48. So we are going to calculate overhead absorption rate per labor hour for the department A. So the department A wala labor information. Department B wala apita dila tiyenawa 5 machines of each operate 24 hours per week. දැන් ඒක අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් 5 into 24 120 into 48 not 48. Five machines. I need 25. මේක වෙනසක් තියෙනවා. මේක අපිට තියෙන්නේ 24, right? ඒක වෙනස් එක. අපිට එන්නේ කීයද? අපිට එන ගාන කීයද? 5,760. 5,760 අහම රේට් එක වෙනස් කරා 63.8. Okay. මේ ආන්සර් එකේ තියෙන එක 25 කරලා බෙදලා ගානක් කරගෙන okay. We'll go ahead with the given information. 63.89. See again, Kelly, total cost divided by number of units, 148. Like up here, manufacturing overhead cost per unit. Calculate the manufacturing overhead cost per unit of finished product in batch of 100 units, which take 9 direct labor hours of department A and 3 machine hours in department B to produce. After manufacturing order cost per unit of finished product in batch of 100 units, which take 9 labor hours in department A and 3 machine hours in department B to produce. Right. The product එකක් ගැන අපිට දීලා තියෙනවා. product එකේ unit 100ක් හදනවලු batch එක. ඒකට පැය 9ක් යනවා labor hours department A වල department B වල 3 machine hours යනවා. එහෙනම් අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන් A වල cost එක එක unit එකකට 23යි. එක පැයකට පැය 9ක් යනවා. පැය 9ක් යන්නේ unit 100ක් හදන්න. B වල labor cost එක එකක් පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස් කරන්නේ. එතන ඉන්නේ 3.8. 53.89. $3.89 into 3 divided by 100. Okay, then. Yes. Then gone. 63.89 per machine hour, 3 hours යනවා. Unit 100ක් එන එක unit එකට කියද? Decimal 1.92. Third one, 100 unit නේ. එක unit එකට 1.25 100 into 100 කියන 1.25 කියලා ගන්නවා. Right? So the total cost per unit 5 rupees and 30 cents. මොකද අපි මේ product කියන තොරතුරු දීලා නැහැ. අපිට කියනවා මොකක් හරි product එකක් කියනවා. ඒකේ 100ක batch එකක් හදනවා. Right? For that batch you need 9 labor hours from the department A, the machine hours in department B, and we are producing 100 units from the department C. Finally, outcome is 100. So this is the manufacturing overhead cost for unit. Okay. This is not ABC. This is rational overhead. Right. Okay, we'll get a short break. 15 minutes. 10:30 we start at 10:45. And continue on. Right. So we'll continue the discussion. So we are moving to question number 2. Right, question number 2. So here, Triple Limited make 3 types of gold watches, D, C, and T. The traditional product costing system used at present, although an activity-based costing system be considered. So you are given the details of 3 products, D, C, and P. The traditional system information is given production unit D 750, P 1250, and P 7000. Labor hours per unit, machine hours per unit, material cost per unit given. Direct labor cost is 6 rupees per hour and production overheads are absorbed on machine hours basis. Overhead absorption rate is 28 per machine hour. So you are given all that information and required calculate cost per unit of each using traditional method. Assuming overheads are absorbed on the basis of machine hours. Can you quickly find the cost of each product? You have the material cost per unit. Labor rate is given, so you can find the labor cost. Overhead cost absorbed based on machine hours. So cost per unit cost. Simple. Then the same activity, we have the activity-based costing information and we work out. Part A. You have to calculate per unit cost of A, B, and C. Per unit material cost given. Per unit labor hours given, hourly rate given. Machine hours given, overhead absorbed 28 per machine hour. Hello. Yeah. What a feeling. Okay, right. Now this one. You have to calculate the cost per unit pre-product. Product C, D, product D. slide. So unit cost, simple calculation actually. Right. So 3 product, the answer would be product D65 total cost, because we have the direct material 20 rupees, direct labor hours 6 per labor hour and 0.5 labor hours, and the machine hours 1.5, 2080 to 1.5, 42 overhead. So altogether 65, right? Straightforward calculation. Product B material cost is given 12 rupee per unit. 1.5 labor hours, 6 into 1.59 rupee. And machine hours, 1 machine hour, so 28 per machine hour overhead absorption rate. And P, 25 direct labor, direct material. Labor 1 hour, so 6 rupee. And machine hour 3 hours. So 28 into 3, 84. So the total cost under the absorption costing 65, 49 and 150. Right? This is the traditional. Quite straightforward calculation. Then we can move to the part B of the question. Same information. Right? තව additional information ටිකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. Activity based costing වලට යන්න. ඒක 2B කියලා තියෙන්නේ මේ එකම question එක continue වෙන්නේ. Total production overhead 654,500. දැන් අර rate එක දීලා තිබුණානේ. දැන් මේකේ absorb කරන්න අපිට දීලා තියෙනවා 654,000. Analysis that total production overhead can be divided cost related to setup 35%, machinery 20%, material handling 15%, inspection 30%. Right? Betul-betul tiga ni. Setup 35%, machinery 20%, material handling 15%, inspection 30%. So these are the 4 activities actually. So the total cost related to each activity, you can take this 654, 500 into 35%, 20%, 15%, 30%. Then you are given the following total activity volume also associated with each product line. Product D, number of setup, number of movements of material, number of inspection. Calculate cost per unit for each product using activity-based costing. Right? So ඉස්සරලාම ඔයාලට ඕන වෙනවා මෙන්න මේ cost එක බෙදා ගන්නනේ. Can you first divide the total cost under the 4 activities? Right? right? The first thing is we have to allocate this, no? Right? So allocate කරාම අපිට එනවනේ so this would be the cost, right? Of each activity, these are the cost. Right? You can check that. So 35% of the total cost, clean up to 29.75, setup and machinery related 130,900, material handling 98,175, inspection related 196,350, right? Yes, the total cost divided proportionally. Right. Now we can take the other information. Now you have this total number of setup, movement, inspection that is available. So now you can calculate what are the cost driver for each activity that should be determined. Setup, machine related cost, material handling cost, inspection. මෙතන අපිට තොරතුරු තියෙනවා number of setup, number of movements of material, number of inspection. තුනක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට setup ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට අමතරව cost related to machine අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් machine hours. Machine hours. Right? ඔය ටික අපිට අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන් cost drivers. So once you get this, this is given. Now this one. Now you have total number of setup 670, total number of material movement 120, total number of inspection 1000, and total number of machine hours. Machine related machine hours අපිට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. 1.5 into 750, 125, 1,250 into 1, 7,000 into 3. Total number of machine hours. So then you have identified the related activity cost. Cost driver for the setup, you can take number of setup. Cost driver relating to machinery, number of machine hours. Cost driver relating to material handling, number of movements of material. Inspection, number of inspections. So you have the quantity of cost driver. So divide cost by the cost driver quantity, you can have the overhead absorption rate per cost driver or the cost driver rate. Total cost of each activity divided by quantity of the activity cost driver. activity cost drive එකේ quantity එකෙන් බෙදලා. Right? So once you get the activity cost driver, so you can easily calculate OA cost absorbed for each product. Right? This you have the cost driver trade. So here we have the number of hours, number of labor hours, machine hours, here we have number of setup, movement, and inspection for each product. So you need to find. Now there are 75 setups of product D. අපි ගත්තොත් cost වර්ග තියෙන්නේ. Setup cost එක ආවනේ. Right? Setup 341.9 per setup. Right? And the number of setups of product D ගත්තොත් product D total number of setups 75. So you can find the total setup cost for product D and the total number of units producing product is 750. We can find what is the per unit cost. Similarly, now we have this information. You have this. Can you find the overhead cost of product BCP? Right. Here. So direct material and direct labor same as the previous setup cost. These are the figures, right? We have to take the cost driver rate multiplied by the total number, divide by the number of units. Setup ගත්තොත් setup එකේ cost driver cost එක බෙදනවා වැඩි කරනවා number of setup වලින් D වලට යන එක බෙදනවා 750 වලින් number of units 750 right C වල driver rate cost driver rate එක තියෙන එක setup එකකට setup කීයක්ද කියන එක අපිට තියෙනවා C වල ඒක වැඩි කරපුවාම එනවා total cost related to the setup divided by the total number of units produced by production you get the final unit cost. Machinery related cost එක එහෙමයි. එතන machine hours space කරගන්න. Material handling and the inspection ඒ අදාළ rate එක basis එකේ වැඩි කරනවා. Right? වැඩි කරලා unit ගාණක් බෙදපුවාම කොයි unit එක එනවා. ඒක අපිට tables දෙකක දීලා තියෙනවා තොරතුරු. You have any doubt related to these activities, right? You can ask. Okay. Now you get the total cost under the activity-based costing. Then part C of the question, explain why cost per unit calculated and activity-based costing are often very different. As per the cost unit under the traditional costing method, use the information given in triple limited to explain the answer. අපිට පෙන්නන්න පුළුවන් මේ cost දෙකේ වෙනස. Now this is the total cost under the absorption costing. Right? Here the total cost additional. අපි ඔය දෙක slide එකකට ගත්තොත් මෙහෙමනේ. You see that significantly different. Under traditional costing method, D65 activity-based costing 170, and C49 here 51, D150 and 100. Right? So this difference arises under the traditional overhead costing method. We use flat rate for a department. Right? One particular department flat rate irrespective of the activities. So activity-based costing, irrespective of the department, the costs are accumulated for activities and assigned based on activity cost drive. So that activity-based costing is more superior. More superior. And what are the consequences of this? Now you see under the total traditional basis, it is 65. Just assume 20% profit markup and to the cost. So you will underprice the product A and product C under the traditional costing method. So as a result, you may be operating in loss, right? Actually loss. But because of wrong cost allocation, you may get a profit. Right? And on the other hand, product C, traditional overhead cost, overprice. Overprice the product. So that might result reason for reduce the sales. Right? So the accurate overhead cost allocation, more accurate, we can arrive using the activity-based costing. Right. Then we are moving to the next part, activity-based management. Use of this activity-based costing or as a decision-making tool, right? In management. So activity-based management here you see that activity-based management is a decision-making method of decision-making that use activity-based costing information to satisfy customers and improve the profit. The activity-based costing information will be used to satisfy customers, so that will lead to improve the profit. So we are using that activity-based costing information as a management decision-making technique that is called activity-based management. the process of using information from activity-based costing to analyze the activities, cost drivers, and performance. So you can improve the customer value and profitability. Right? Now, customer value means what is valued by the customer. Customer perspective. Right? So if a cost that you learn in marketing, right? So the value is in the customer's mind. So if the what is quality, what customer thinks quality, what they perceive quality. Right? So that may not be sometimes actually quality. What we perceive. Right? Right? When you brand, when you promote, when you make a promotion, right? That can be achieved. Some products, you know, like a certain quality. A customer perceives it as a quality, so it may continue, right? You have positioned that in that way, so that it is valued by the customers. In products, you know, the position, right? The some unhealthy product, come the world main brand, have Coca-Cola, unhealthy, have a moment, Coca-Cola, right? Like a brand, like a position, right? It has a kind of taste, right? I mean, a taste, take it a eat a taste, some other soft drinks, you know, actually sales and customer value, what customer thinks. The ABC you can use to create customer value and profitability. So that will help to achieve profitability. So steps in activity-based management, we have to identify the activities required to complete our product. Determine whether activities are either value-added or non-value-added. Right? අපි activities ටික අඳුර ගන්නවා ඉස්සෙල්ලා. ABC costing වල කොහොමද අපි activities ටික අඳුර ගන්නේ? ඊළඟ වැදගත් දේ තමයි activity-based management වල මම අර කලිනුත් කිව්වේ මේ activities you have to identify value-added or non-value-added from the customer's perspective. ඒක business එකට කරගෙන යන්න value-added නැද්ද කියන එක නෙවෙයි. From the customer's perspective, whether that activity add value to the customer or not. So market business එකේ tradition එකක් තියෙනවා. Right? ඒ tradition එක maintain කරන්න අපි cost එකක් incur කරනවා. අපි activities යනවා ඒකට එක cost එකක් incur කරනවා. But the customers, they don't care about it. Right? So from the customer's perspective, that activity may be not very valid activity to the customer. The continuously improve the value-added activities and minimize or eliminate the non-value-added activities. So activity-based management වලදී කරන්නේ. Activities ටික අඳුර ගන්නවා. අර activity-based costing information එකට පාවිච්චි වෙනවා. Right? ඊට පස්සේ අර ඒ වගේ cost අඳුර ගන්නවනේ ඊට පස්සේ ඒවා value-added non-value-added විදිහට බෙදාගන්න. Value-added activities you can improve, non-value-added activities you can either eliminate or reduce. Identify the major opportunities for cost reduction. Right? So, අපි value analysis එකක් කරන්න ඕන activities වල. The value-added activities are essential value to customer. Customer ට value එකක් නෑ. Basic production activities ගත්තොත්, administrative activities ගත්තොත් ඒ වගේ අනිවාර්යයෙන් customer ට value එකක් add කරන්න. Non-value-added activities does not add value to product from the customer's perspective. Waiting, inspection, rework, unnecessary movement, and storage. ඒ වගේම සමහර ඒවා තියෙනවා from the business perspective non-value-added activities සමහර businesses කරනවා. Right? ඒක customer ටත් නෑ business එකටත් නෑ. business එක පැත්තෙම අපිට බලලා ඒක අයින් කරන්න. Because identify non-value-added activities from business perspective easy first. business එක පැත්තෙම non-value-added අපි practice එකක් විදිහට කරගෙන යන්න තියෙනවා. අපිට පේනවා ඒ customer ට වැඩකුත් නෑ business එකට වැඩක්. Right? business එක පැත්තෙන් value addition එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි සමහර ඒවා business එක පැත්තෙන් අපි value කියලා හිතනවා. හැබැයි customer ට value. ඒවත් non-value-added. Then building activities into the process, the series of activities links together. Right? And බලන්න right. අපේ objective එකට යන්න මොනවද activities ටික link කරගන්නවා. Then after identifying the processes, have to identify root cause of cost drivers of non-value added activities. Non-value added activities වල මොකක්ද cost drivers? Root cause. So the cost driver analysis must prepare to identify the root causes. The rapid cost driver stick අඳුරගෙන ඒ cost drivers activities ටික අඳුරගෙන ඒ activities වල non-value added ඒවා මොනවද කියන එක. Sub activities වල අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ ඒකේ root cause එක අඳුර ගන්නවා. Right? මෙතන examples කීපයක් දීලා තියෙනවා. Right? Green casting මොනවා හරි ඔය example එකක්. Right? model එක හදන මොනවා හරි අපි හිතමු model එකට දාලා හදන product එකක් තියෙනවා කියන්නේ. right? ඒ වගේ product එකක complexity එක නිසා නැත්නම් මේ model වල තියෙන defects නිසා යන material movement related එහෙනම් අපිට යම් activity එකක root cause එක මොකක්ද? ඒක cost එක ඉන්ක කරන්න වෙන root cause එකක්. සරල එකක් ගත්තොත් material your stores from the stores we have to issue to the factory. Right? Your factory is at කටුනායක. stores එක දැන්ට තියෙනවා Colombo head office එකේ. ඒතර material movement cost එක වැඩි. අපි හිතමු material එන්නේ අපි හිතමු up country candy road එකේ right ඒකට අපිට ඒක කොළඹ වලට ඇවිල්ලා ආපහු යනකට වඩා ඒතර material movement cost එක වැඩි. ඒතකොට අන්න අපි අඳුර ගන්නවා දැන් material transport movement cost එකේ තියෙනවා non value added part එකක්. මෙහි stores වලට ඇවිල්ලා අපෝ factory අපිට හදන්න පුළුවන් නම් කෙලින්ම කැන්ඩි වලින් කටුනායකට යන්න. right? ඒතර අර non value added activity එකක් තියෙනවා අතර material movement එක. right? ඒතර activity cost drivers අඳුරගත්තට පස්සේ දැන් අපි material movement cost එක වැඩි. කොහොමද control කරන්නේ? දැන් අපි ඒක බෙදලා බලන්න. right? So that is where we can use this activity based costing. Develop program for reduce the cost. So develop program to eliminate root cause of major non-value added activities. Eliminate root cause. Cost driver may involve taking individual activities and alternatively it may require fundamental restructuring of the business process re-engineering අපි ඔයසට කතා කරනවා. right? එකේ techniques අපිට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර වෙලාවට restructure of the business process මේ business තියෙන process එක ඇතුලේ තමයි non-value added activities වැඩි. right? ඒ නිසා අපි restructure කරනවා. උදාහරණයක් අපි හිතමු දැන් බෑන්ට් manual system එකක් ගන්න. right? මේක automated වලට මාරු කරොත් අන්න මේ non-value added activities minimize කරන්න. right? දැන් මේ පහුගිය කාලේ ලංකාවේ ලොකුට කතා වෙන්නේ දැන් electricity board එකේ meter reading employees ලා ඒක ඇත්තටම මේ non value added activity එකක් තමයි. ඒ කියන්නේ customer ගේ පැත්තෙන් අපිට meter එක read වෙලා bill එක එන එක නෙවෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක අපිට මේ ගෙදරට අර bill එක read කරන කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා right ඒක check කරලා එනවද නැත්නම් ඒක SMS එකකින් අපිට bill එක read වෙලා system එකකින් එනවද කියන එක අදාළ නැහැ. huge staff maintaining right? ඒ මේ traditional system එකක් කියන්නේ. right? රන් ඒවා non value added. දැන් ඒක අයින් කරන්න ලොකු restructuring process එකක් වෙන්න වෙනවා. ඒ employees ලොකු ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉන්නොත් ඒගොල්ලෝ කොහටද allocate කරන්නේ? කොහොමද ඒගොල්ලන් effectively use කරන්නේ? right? restructure. Implication of activity based management. Activity based management focused on managing activities to reduce cost and improve the customer value. So, but මේ activity based management ප්‍රධාන types දෙකකට බෙදලා තියෙනවා. මේකත් Kaplan so many techniques, right? Management accounting techniques introduced by Kaplan and Hooper. ඒගොල්ලෝ මේක බෙදනවා operational activity based management and strategic activity based management. What is operational? Aim to things, do things right. ඒ කියන්නේ එදිනෙදා operations ටික හරියට කිරීම කියන focus එක ගත්තොත් කරන වැඩේ හරියට කරන එක, right? Operational. Efficiency, gaining efficiency through lower cost, enhancing asset utilization. Under operational activity-based management, managers tend to play around within the given system and the demand. Operations ne. So දැන්ට තියෙන system එක ඇතුලේ කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල්. ඒකට තමයි continuous improvement, Kaizen කියලා technique එකක් කොහොමද ඇති, right? Total quality management. මේවා තියෙනවා modern management technique concepts අපි මේක in detail ඉස්සරහට කතා කරමු, right? BRP, business process reengineering, right? Business reengineering. මේ වගේ දේවල් වලින් අපිට පුළුවන් මේ ඔක්කොම cost minimize කරලා quality improve කරන්න තියෙන techniques. Strategic activity based management කියන්නේ ඊට වඩා උඩ level එකේ, right? So while keeping operational activity based management practice constant, strategic activity based management attempt to change the activity mix, shifting activities from unprofitable product services to the profitable one. Divisional විදිහට අඳුරගෙන සමහර වෙලාවට, right? Reduce the activity volume of non-profitable revenue resources, increase such volume into the productive resources. Then ඒක operational level එකේදී operational level එකේ managers ලාට තියෙන්නේ, right? ඒ annual target හදපුවාම මේ product එකකින් මෙච්චරයි, මේ product එකකින් මෙච්චරයි, මෙච්චර අපි හදනවා, මෙච්චර sales කරනවා, මේ plan එක තියෙනවා, right? ඒ plan එකේ තමයි strategic level කියන්නේ top level. එතකොට අපි dropping a product, introducing new product, resource allocation for one, change to another one, right? ඒවා strategic level. So basically this activity based costing help here to identify these activity analysis and to eliminate non-value added activities. So we will be learning these strategies. ඒවා වෙන techniques අපි ඉස්සරහට කතා කරමු, right? ඒකට මේ ගැන මේකේ application පැත්ත අපි කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. So basically what we discussed today, activity based costing and traditional absorption costing. So examination perspective, you should be able to differentiate these two, right? Application අපි අන්තිම හදපු activity එක වගේ level එකේ activity එකකින් cost calculation එක කරලා මේ දෙක අතර වෙනස. right? මේකට තව add කරන්න පුළුවන් pricing part එක, right? අපි cost එකනේ ගත්තේ. එතකොට මේක 120ක් markup එකක් තියලා profit cost calculate කරනවා වගේ කිව්වොත් එවන්නේ. එතකොට මේ පැත්තෙන් ඉන්නත් අපිට මේකේ impact එක කතා කරනවා. අපි ඉස්සරහට තව පාඩම් වලදී pricing වලට එනකොටත් මේක link කරලා අපි activities වලට යනවා, right? So basically you should know what is activity based costing, how it is changed from the traditional activity based costing, and for what are the circumstances activity based costing is more suitable over the traditional absorption costing, and traditional absorption costing is more suitable over the activity based. But you will not ask directly list them, right? They can never take it with me wage question. The traditional activity based, what are the situations traditional activity based is suitable for කියලා කෙලින්ම අහන්නේ නැහැ මේ level. What are the situations activity based costing is suitable for කියලා මේ ටික list කරන්න අහන්නේ. හැබැයි ඔයාලට statement එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් මේක base කරලා ලියන්න. So it can be given, right? In a particular business, new management accounting was appointed. Now he is planning to introduce activity based costing system for the business. Business එකේ තොරතුරු අපිට ටිකක් දෙනවා. ඒ තොරතුරු දීලා තියෙන එකේ අපිට තේරෙනවා right මේ සමහර factors එකේදී. අපිට අහන්න පුළුවන් are you agree with this decision and you can come up with the reasons. ඒවා කියනවා right ඒ තොරතුරු වලට අනුව මේගොල්ලෝ low competition එක නම් ඉන්නේ active base costing වලට යන එක තේරුමක්. Within the total product mix එක ඇතුලේ overhead cost is within the total cost structure overhead cost is relatively low percentage. There's no point of going for active base costing. And at the moment they are having a low information system, right? Manual or basic information system. If you are moving to the active base costing, you have to come up with the more sophisticated system that will more costly, right? So considering those facts, you have to mention, right? Argument එක develop කරන්න ඕනේ ඒවා එක්ක, right? So that is the way that you should develop the answer, right? Okay, so today we had the first session, right? That is activity-based costing and activity-based management. For the next week, I will give you the details of individual assignment, also individual assignment, which is this. Oh yeah, we have 11 sessions, right? 44. Right. So with that, so first topic, we got activity-based costing. Right. Second week, I'll take the standard costing and variance. Right. So again, I'm starting with some of the topics that you are familiar with. Right. So next week we can finish that part. Today we had this activity-based costing, which is 10%. Right. Then I'm taking the standard costing and variance and another 10%, right? Okay, so can have the lunch break, right? So then we can go.